welcome to the stream. If you are new here, my name's Jarrett. I am a Rubyist, and I run a consultancy called Super Good Software where we build e-commerce websites using Ruby on Rails and a framework called Solidus. Today we're not doing that though. On Monday nights we do roguelike development in Ruby. I have just kicked off a project. I think this is episode 4 of working on it, and not much of an episode today. I ran into some issues using Minitest to test some things the way that I wanted to do them. Just the rudimentary mocking that's available there didn't quite meet my needs, and I could have installed something like Mocha and gone that route, but I work in RSpec all day for reasons that are boring. All the Rails apps we use RSpec, and I'm just a lot more comfortable using it. So since this is going to be a long-running project, I decided I'm just going to use what I'm comfortable with. So I started rewriting my tests to use RSpec, and I'm going to finish that job today, and then we'll move on to sort of implementing the basics of the sort of entity component system architecture starting next week. So, brings me to figuring out exactly where I was. So we added a few things. Actually, let's... I don't like that. First, that last commit should have been 2 commits, so let's make it 2 commits. First, we load application code in test environment. We have auto loading using Zitework, so there's not really very much overhead to just requiring the entire thing, because the entire thing is just going to load our main module that's sort of our entry point. Anything else that needs to get loaded will just get loaded by Zitework. So we don't really have to worry about our tests like loading a ton of code that doesn't need to be loaded if we're just running one spec file or something like that. And then we tested the random stuff. So let's, as we go, delete the old tests. And then we can say migrate random numbers tests to RSpec. Sure. And then we can just take a look at what the next test we want to do is. Test. We can just delete this test. This test does not do anything. So that's fine. Delete pointless test. And then we can look at game test. Sure, okay, this is more of a real test. So let's open the equivalent spec. Try to describe what we're doing. Oh yeah, game test. Had a very productive day, so my brain is gone. So in this one, we've got 2 methods we want to test. First, we want to test the render method. And the subject for this one will be game.render. And now, what do we want to say here? So one of the nice things about working in RSpec, which I like, is that we have a tool called Instance Double that allows us to to do sort of like verifying mocks in that it will not allow us to step out methods on our mocks that don't exist on the actual object itself, the class itself. My glasses are really dirty. Well, that did not help, but I'll live with it. Or I'll just take my glasses off. I can see well enough without them. I have astigmatism in one eye, so my left eye makes up for it, for my right eye being really bad. I can't actually tell the difference between wearing and not wearing my glasses, though I understand it's more strain on me to do this. But not noticeably. So we need a fake map, which is a GDO instance of that, and we need a fake term, which is an instance of this. This is already like, I don't mean this to be a dig at mini-test by any means, but I do find that while I generally like the structure of the sort of XUnit style mini-tests a little better in terms of the API of it just being methods and stuff, same time I do sort of like really appreciate some of the features and expressiveness. You could make the argument that a lot of what RSpec does sort of kind of pushes you towards, let's say, more complex APIs and designs. That's fair. I wouldn't fight you on that, but sometimes you need it. The thing that I ran into was this weird, like there was a block and I needed to assert that things were getting called inside the block, and it was not an API I controlled, so I could not change it. So there wasn't an easy way to do it with the tools I had on hand, and I decided to just use the tools I'm used to. None of this is a dig at mini-test. I really like mini-test, and I really like the sort of designs it pushes you towards. I did the thing again where I didn't look at the right. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I've done it again. Didn't show my screen. Well, it is what it is. So maybe we should bring up the code so that I remember what I'm testing here. Oh. Right. So there's a bunch of stuff in here that's not tested, but it's not going to stay living in this class, so I'm not too worried about it. Oh, this is the map. This is not the game. So I'm going to say it delegates to the map, and we can expect, so first of all, oh, what is going on here? We probably want our term is going to have a couple things called on it, and we can set those up statically here. So they're just don't know why I'm maybe hitting Option Escape. So we have a width, and it's going to be 61, and we have a height, and it's going to be 40. God, I need a thing to remind me to just not, or just look over at my thing and realize that I'm talking without my screen up, or I'll just become a better streamer. So there we go. We have some methods. The thing we care is that we expect our term to receive render. And we want it to receive render with, sorry, it's not the term, it's the map that receives that, with the term and a width of 1 and a height of 40. subject. And did I set up my bindings right? That is not the right binding. What we got here? Initialize construct game test. Yep, because I am not awake apparently. Just blindly copying things. Okay, and that's gonna say that we never set up the game, which is true. So let's do that. That's gonna remove any test specs. There we go. All right, so we're passing. That is our test again. Now let's do send key. So this is going to, we're gonna have a whole bunch of different contexts here. That's how I'm gonna test this. I could have tested all in one block, but I'm fine with this approach. So we're gonna need to, yeah, I must be pressing option here when I'm doing this. Game.sendKey, and we're gonna need the same setup, except that we no longer care about these properties. They don't matter. We're not going to invoke them, so we can just do that. And so we got one, the key is Q, and we also have H. Actually, let's just write the Q one, get it passing, and then keep going. So it, oh, this one's sort of separate, different than the others. And then we'll just let key be Q here. All right, but when the key is H, this is not what we want. It sends the left event to the map. Good, yeah, okay. So then we just got to do a bunch of these. This is probably code that will get thrown away, but might as well reproduce the whole test. So we got J, we got K, whoop, and we got L. J is going to send the down event. K is going to send the up event. And excellent. So yeah, we're just running our whole test suite because our whole test suite only takes 0.07 seconds to, or that's to load, but regardless, it's very, very fast. 0.008 seconds to actually run. There's no IO, there's no APIs to hit, there's no database. It's all fast. All right, so that covers that. We can delete that and migrate the game tests to RSpec. Go. And what other tests have we got? We've got our term colors test. Let's do that one next. Take look at the term colors. And if you recall, if you've seen the previous streams, we had to write some fun code in this one because of the weird way that curses handles colors. This basically initializes colors as we need them or returns them if they're already initialized, so that we don't have to care about knowing which foreground pairs of colors we have in our initialize. We just say, give me the ID of the pair with this foreground color and this background color, and it just gives it to us. So this is the GLW term colors. And it has a fairly simple API. Only has one method, and that is the index method, which we can write like that. And we'll say colors, and we'll invoke it with the foreground and the background, which is, I believe, the API that I wrote here. Yep, looks right. And this is all right, not related to the stream. All right, context when the color has not been initialized. And then we also have a context when the color has been initialized. So say colors is going to be a new instance of this class. Oh. And it takes a curses. Now we're going to pass in a fake curses, and let's do that. And then how do we do this? So let's just sort of set up our tests. We're going to allow curses to receive init pair with 189.233 and color pair with 1 and return 256. So, you know, this is essentially equivalent to, well, it's allowing, it's not expecting, but to this, other than that I've used allow rather than expect. Which is fine. This test doesn't, oh, this test calls it twice to try and make sure that we don't, okay. It initializes the color and returns the ID. So I'm actually just gonna move this junk all in here. Cool. Yeah. I'm just going to hard code the colors we're passing in here as 89 and 233 because it's not significant. Okay, that passes. Now I think I can just do once or like 1 times or something like that. Something like that. Fortunately, this is memoized. We're specifically testing that we're memoizing things. So we can now just call it explicitly, I guess. So it looks like it worked. If I cared more, I would go, if this were actual work, I'd go verify that that test fails to save me the inevitable embarrassment of writing a test that doesn't fail when I want it to. But I'm not worried about it today. So we migrate the term colors specs to RSpec. I believe we only have one more test we need to do. That is our term test, the one that I believe started this whole adventure. Did it? Maybe it didn't. Maybe something else did. I don't remember. Excuse me. Okay, so we want to test. So we had a geometry test. Describe. I'm gonna write these just sort of more conventionally. Doing a describe block for each method, that is. Described. Oh, this is sorry. This is term dot width. Really good at typing square brackets when I'm in curly brackets. And window is what? A curses window. And colors is not going to get called, I don't think, but it is a GW term colors. So that's good. That's good. Expected to be 100. And only if window returns max of 100. Good. I did the thing again where I wrote term test instead of term. I was looking at the spec. Good, good. Excellent. Do the same for height. This is going to be max Y. Change it to a different value. So we get 40 out. And we do. Now we can test our API for getch. Getk. Excellent. I'm just gonna borrow this setup. I know copying this kind of setup between specs is gonna put some people off probably, but but frankly, I would prefer duplication in my specs. I'd rather have each method spec be totally self-contained, and if they need different setup, they need different other stuff, then they can vary in that. If they all need the same setup, then they can just all have the same setup. It's there, it makes the test easier to read. Makes them easier to vary independently, and just generally one of the downsides to me to using RSpec is that everything's not in the same place, and it's not just the sort of normal Ruby control flow that we're used to. So the little things we can do to sort of structure our specs to try and keep everything together as much as possible and make them nice and explicit is sort of, I think it's worth it. Bang. Cool. That works. Port term specs to RSpec. And then we still got a test folder. But it has nothing of any value in it. Remove unused test helper. Ooh, that requires pry. Does our new spec helper require pry? No, it doesn't. Cool, now we got that, and now I want to just automatically use standard RB in this project. Yes, I clicked on the wrong one. So first, oh. What is going on? What have I done? There we go. Let's add a development dependency for standard. So what's the is it just standard? Yeah, just standard. Cool. Just bundle that in. Now yes. Now I would really like to not do any of those things. I want to do it on a pre-commit hook. Standard RB pre-commit. Now I know there's tools in the Node ecosystem that I've used before for running this kind of thing. And basically what I want is what the nice thing that the tools I've used before do is when you stage only some of the changes in your repository, they stash the unstaged changes, then run your tools, whatever they be, your linters, your formatters, and then stage any changes resulting from that, and then reapply any other stuff back once you've committed or whatever. So you don't get any weird stuff from that kind of thing. And I really need whatever I used to do that. So I just trying to source control, easily add scripts. Thank you. Hook options, required files include, exclude, fail and warn. Skip file checkout. Doesn't explicitly say it does what I want. Warning, pre-cooks cannot have side effects. Yeah. Not what I need. Not what I need. Running Rubocop. Pronto, Rubocop. Well, is Pronto the thing I need? I'd love to not have to reach out to another ecosystem for this, but I will if I have to. Pronto runs quickly by checking only the relevant changes. Sounds vaguely right. It's a whole lot of and I guess we can try it. Instructions here. Code command review. I kind of want someone to just tell me explicitly. That it's git add-p friendly. Really doesn't say it. Come on, internet. It's not pre-commit. No, it hasn't been. Lint staged. Lint staged is, I'm pretty sure, what I want. Yes. Lint staged. I wish people just make their tools say. Because anything that doesn't support like partially staged stuff is just useless to me, and like anyone who uses Git non-trivially. Not to say that they're not of no value, but they're not of any value to me. Not with my workflow. Yes, nice. All right, let's see if we can make this thing work. What does this even do? Cannot add lint stage, only ESLint. What happened? Is it because it's not an NPM repository? Or it's not a node, whatever we want to call it. All right, I'm gonna need to put some more thought into this one because I don't. It seems silly to have a package JSON in here. Yeah, I just want to put a lint staged RC and have it just work. I'll go look into those Ruby tools. I'd rather use the Ruby tools, but I didn't get the answer quick enough on here. So thank you for joining me. Nice progress on switching us over to RSpec today. We'll be continuing on with the actual real meat of the work, building out the actual game architecture starting next week. See y'all.